Hello, this video is a reference video for all of my students that are doing something along the classical or fingerstyle lines. This is one of the first exercises that we go through. It is something that will teach you control over your plucking hand, and it's great for establishing proper technique right out the get-go. So in case you're a little bit foggy from what we did in the lesson, hopefully this video angle and everything else that you're going to see here will remind you of what we talked about, and you will be able to continue practicing it in the proper way. First up is we're going to be focusing exclusively on the plucking hand. The fingers are labeled P for the thumb, I for index, M for middle, A for ring, which is taken from the original Spanish because the guitar is a Spanish instrument, and the pulgar, indice, medio, anular. Forgive me if my Spanish is not exactly on point there. Anyways, so we take these fingers, and the first step is we're going to work on just the thumb for now. The thumb is going to be placed, or P is going to be placed on the 5th string, and we always refer to the strings counting from the highest pitch one to the lowest pitch one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to be taking my thumb and placing it on the 5th finger, like so. Wow, the 5th string. My thumb on the 5th string. And then I'm going to be taking my I and M and A fingers and placing them on the first 3 strings, with A on the 1st string, M on the 2nd string, and I on the 3rd string. Notice my thumb is in front of my 3 fingers. That's very important. The thumb shouldn't be behind because it's going to get in the way if I want to pluck with my index finger, or any of the other ones really. And it shouldn't be super far ahead because that's going to give me a really lousy sound. I want to be able to stay a little bit at an angle here in order to keep my tone full. We'll save that tone explanation and exercises for later. But for now, we're going to focus simply on finger picking. Your placement of the thumb, ideally, if you have a fingernail, like I do here, or I guess you could say some thumbnail to be technically correct, is you want the string to rest right between the nail and the flesh of the thumb. That area right in there. And when we're practicing this, you want your thumb to always make that contact the same. The more things you keep the more things you keep the same, can't talk, the less confusion there is in your hand. So I'm going to take my thumb and fingers, place those down. My thumb is in front. My fingers are lined up on each string with the knuckles above the fingertips. We'll get to more in details with the fingers in a moment. Or get more in details. Get more in detailed. There's the words with the fingers in a moment. So my thumb is lined up. All my fingers are placed down. I want every time that I pluck with my thumb for it to make contact with my finger between generally the middle knuckle and the last knuckle here. Anywhere in there. Everybody's hand is a little bit different, so don't be super concerned about like if you're too where exactly in the spot it lands, as long as it's landing cleanly and precisely every single time. This is an exercise that we should be doing at a relatively slow rate in order to make sure that we can control it. The speed with this exercise comes in the execution of the original pluck and of returning back to the string. That's where we want our speed to be. And we want this to remain in 2 motions, out and back. Again, that's out in between these 2 knuckles and returning to the string, ideally in the exact same spot where it disconnected or came off of the thumb. The less of a nail you have, the trickier it is. You don't want to have a super long nail, but there's a happy medium that we will discuss later on about with the nail care and so on. So if you don't have a nail, as long as you're getting a little bit of the edge of the flesh on the thumb, you're going to be fine. As long as it's consistent. Consistency is king. So, first up, I have a metronome set for 60. And the order of this exercise is I'm going to pluck the string, I'm going to wait a beat, and I'm going to return to the string, and I'm going to wait a beat. And then I'm going to keep that cycle going. So I'm always giving myself extra time before I move. I will not move my thumb unless the metronome is clicking. So I won't pluck and then kind of like get it like this and then sneak it back, or pluck and then take my time and then touch it at the last possible second when the metronome clicks. It's out, back, out, back, out, back. And that's that. Not that quick in the sense of repeating it, but in the sense of the motion. Quick down, quick return. Quick down, quick return. Quick down, quick return. Pretty simple. Now, I'm going to turn this on at 60. You can adjust the metronome to how you want it at home for practice, but we're just going to do this at 60, and we'll do 4 bars of this exercise. Pluck, wait, return, wait, pluck, wait, return, wait, wait, return, wait, pluck, wait, return, wait. Straightforward, nice and easy. Ideally, this should be done for about 5 minutes. Anywhere 3 to 5 is good, but the ideal is do it as long as you can really keep it going to really drill the exercise. But if you're going to get shoot for a number, 5 minutes a day, every day of the week, will really start to drill this habit in. If you're not going to be consistent over the days, you're not going to grow as quickly as you can. It's better to do 5 minutes every day than try to cram it in for an hour over the weekend. All right, so that takes care of our thumbs. Now, for the fingers, the A, M, and the I, our thumb is going to rest back on the 5th string right where it was, and we're going to have A, M, and I set up on the first 3 strings. This is going to be just a simple pluck into your hand and then return to the strings through relaxing the muscles. Not trying to search and find the strings and, okay, there they are, I got it. It's pluck, release, pluck, release. So when I'm doing that motion, it's going to be, let's do it this way. Nope, here, good. The motion is in to the palm of the hand. Pluck, release, pluck, release. So I'm using this right here, not the flexors, the extensor, no, the flexors. I'm using the flexors to pull in, and I'm letting those relax. I'm not using my extensors to get them into place. I'm using just tension and release, tension and release, in order to pluck with my fingers. So back to the strings, and now we're going to do the same thing that we did in terms of timing with the thumb, but we're going to execute it on these 3 fingers. So with these 3 fingers, we're going to play on the 1, pluck, wait, release, wait, pluck, wait, release, wait. The motion again, all the way into the hand. There shouldn't be popping up like this. It should be into the meat of the palm. This is a little bit of an extreme practice, but in execution, we still want the motion to go into the hand rather than breaking the back of the hand. We don't want a negative plane. If you notice yourself popping up, it's probably because your wrist is too low onto the fretboard. Notice when I put my wrist down, elbow went out, I look like I'm going to check somebody, and all of a sudden my left shoulder, it could be your right, is all out of whack with this. If my wrist is up at the right angle, I have the weight of my arm resting on this part of the forearm here and putting pressure onto this, well, I have an armrest here, but onto the top of your guitar. So that my arm is basically just loose. And the only tension that happens is when I pluck. So we'll give it a couple of bars with the metronome at 60, and then we'll call it a day for today's recap of your general first lesson. Pluck, wait, release, wait, pluck, wait, release, wait, pluck, wait, release, wait, pluck, wait, release, wait. That's the exercise for the fingers. Again, the speed comes on this with the execution into the hand and the relaxation to go back. If your hand is set up properly, most likely you don't have to do any type of adjusting. Real quick thing on how to set up the hand properly. I often tell students, well, let me turn to the side. So if you're sitting upright, My arm's just hanging down by the side of my body. My fingers are relaxed. You can't really see them. There you go, even though I look a little bit weird leaning back. So my fingers are just kind of doing their thing. I sit up, shoulders straight, back straight, arm comes up, boom. Your hand will naturally stay in that relaxed space if you stay relaxed. If I start to build tension anywhere, everything starts to change. Keep it nice and easy, and you'll do totally fine. Don't try to pluck super hard. Gentle gets better results for the time being. We'll worry about changing the dynamics and everything else later on. So 5 minutes a day, the thumb, 5 minutes a day, the fingers. See you next time.